let's talk about the next upcoming card in Marvel Snap. Anti-Venom. Yes, Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom is going to be joined aside Ghost Spider and Supergiant. Ghost Spider can enables many a move deck, if not most move decks at some point or another, and some bounce decks, depending on what they choose to run. And Supergiant can be annoying for the opponent, particularly if they're playing cards that rely on like that turn 5 combo and whatnot. Supergiant can actually mess them up quite a bit. Now, as for Anti-Venom's ability, on reveal, set the cost and power of your deck's top card to 0. So it sets the power, it's a 4/6, I guess I should mention, and set the cost and power of your deck's top card to 0, which makes me think that Howard the Duck might actually see some play with Anti-Venom. The reason I'm saying that is because it's nice to know your top card before you're just setting it to 0. Because if you're setting like Misery, for example, to 0, there's little to no upside to playing Misery, even if Misery costs 0. But on the flip side, if you're setting an Odin to 0, then it doesn't matter as much because Odin doesn't have that per se downside that Misery has, because Misery actually destroys each card as it retriggered. Misery and Odin both retrigger ongoing cards. But the thing about Odin is Odin doesn't destroy, whereas Misery does. Actually, there's an interesting line here that if you play Anti-Venom and you know Odin is coming next, so on turn 5 you'll be able to play a 0-cost Odin and then get Anti-Venom to work again because he is an ongoing technically. But even that's not an ideal play because you're taking away, 8 power from Odin? Now, Iron Man is, Iron Man is potentially a real good play here, considering that you can have a 0-cost Iron Man, and Iron Man is 0 to begin with, so I don't really think that affects anything there. Now, with that said, I will say, however, just like with any cost reduction cards, you do run the risk of your opponent playing Mobius. In fact, I'm pretty sure that your opponent is definitely going to play Mobius. I mean, it seems like just one of the no-brainer type things to do. You know, if you're going to be running Anti-Venom, the opponent is going to be countering it. And then, unfortunately, Anti-Venom has a hard counter in Mobius. I say hard counter because usually what happens is worst case scenario, that discount just doesn't happen. So, you know, if it's like a Sarah and they play Mobius, or a Zabu and they play Mobius, that discard just doesn't happen. You still got the card and it was okay and whatnot. But keep in mind, Anti-Venom actually sets the cost and power of your deck's top card to 0. Power as well, not just the cost. So A little bit of a downside there if your opponent does have Mobius, because then Anti-Venom. Now, with that said, the good thing, however, is that you should be able to tell by turn 3 if your opponent has Mobius or not, because of the fact that usually they play out turn 3. Very rare cases that they play Mobius turn 4. So, as long as you don't see that Mobius come down, then you should be good there, I think. Now, I do not know. I honestly, at the top of my head, can't really think of many cards outside of Iron Man, Mystique, maybe White Tiger would be a fine hit, because White Tiger is 1 anyway, so may as well be 0. A 0 cost Jubilee could be good. Just things that have low cost anyway. So it's really just one of the things. You can have a harder hitting 10-5 or even a 10-6 if you really wanted. I could potentially see him in Sasquatch decks because of the fact that, I mean, he essentially lets you play at the minimum 2 cards on 10-5, more if your cards are lower cost. And that's just one of the things. Sasquatch loves when you play cards the turn before. So, yeah. On the flip side, there could be some cards that people just don't want to go down to 0, which I'm curious. The Luke Cage fix that because of the way that it's worded? I don't know. It says set the cost and power of your top deck, top card of your deck to 0. So does that mean like its base power becomes 0, or can a Luke Cage actually fix it type thing? Like if I'm running Luke Cage, does it just make it back to its original whatchamacallit? Like I just get a 0 cost Galactus. A 0 cost Galactus that had no downside, but wouldn't that be crazy actually? A 0 cost Galactus. A 0 cost Galactus, but it would have 0 as well, so it wouldn't really be relevant per se. I'm trying to think what cards would be relevant. Only a handful of cards I think would even benefit one from having 0. I don't know. This is an interesting card. Okay. This is really interesting. I mean, one could argue a 0 cost Wong isn't bad. Uh, kind of makes it so late game combo doesn't matter too much. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure people will find super interesting ways to play this card. In case you're wondering why I'm actually doing this card review so early, it's because the new Venom movie, honestly. I wanted to release this. I wanted to release a whole We Are Venom style deck, but Anti-Venom isn't coming out on the date of the movie, which is so weird in my opinion. It seemed like a perfect thing to time Anti-Venom for this week. Because, yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm getting a bit off topic here. Definitely let me know, comment section below. Do you have any good combos cooking that you're ready and raring to try with Anti-Venom. Let me know, comment section below, and with that said, I will catch you guys in the future. Later.